Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.
This podcast is brought to you by Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about our affiliate, Covenant Eyes.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all.
It's DJ Wado, of course. I'm here with my brother, Dee Black. What's up, sir?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
Hey, man, it's good to be here with you, my brother.
Yeah, bro. I'm just trying to make sure I talk into the mic.
That's the thing, man. That's definitely a thing, man. So what's been up with you, bro?
Nothing, man. Here for the Kingdom Choice, man. Yeah. Feeling great, man. Feeling good about it. Back in New York again. It's like my second home, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you there's some people that come out here and they just get with the vibe of the city. You seem like one of those. Some people get here, they overwhelmed by New York. It's too much for them.
Nah, I mean, I'm from Baltimore originally,
Sure.
but I'm living in Florida now. So I was here a lot, you know what I mean? And Marcus, Minister Marcus, make sure that I stay in New York all the time. So, you know what I mean? When I get here, it's like a transition is real easy, you know what I mean? But I like going home.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like the whole city, I do like going home though.
Yeah. It can be overwhelming, man.
It can be.
New York can be a bit much at times, man.
Yeah.
So take us back to Baltimore, man. Anytime somebody mentions Baltimore, I always think of one of my favorite TV shows, The Wire, of course, man. But you know, man, for you, like just growing up in Baltimore, man, what was that whole space like for you?
It's funny because I tell people all the time, The Wire really is real. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what people say, bro.
It's real. Like I know those streets.
Yeah.
I know some of those people. I know some of those cases.
Yeah.
Some of those cops.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like it's such a small place that everybody that you see and know, everybody kind of knows everybody. You know what I mean? So we all lived that same life, unfortunately, because that was the way that the neighborhoods were. So I found myself dibbling and dabbling in all of that, even though I had a strong mom at home and had the, support. It was just like, man, you couldn't escape.
So which character were you most like?
Oh, man. That's a good one. Oh, I can't, what was his name? Light skin.
The Bodie?
Bodie, probably. Yep. That, believe it or not, I was a loner, but at the same time, I found myself in situations where I was always put in charge. I didn't want to be, you know what I mean, of something or anything, or found myself where I was leading, and I was like, bro, how did I even get here? You know what I mean? But I found myself, because he was a good character. Yeah, he was a good guy, but he always did what he had to do to get out of situations.
And he was loyal, bro.
Loyal.
He was loyal.
You can't teach that.
Yeah, he was loyal and he was principled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even when the whole rest of the organization kind of faded, was locked up.
Yeah.
Bodie's still out there. He the last man on the corner.
I mean, he was silly too. You know what I mean? Because it was like everybody was going down and he didn't see that the end was coming. He was continuing to stay loyal. So man, definitely.
So you that was really life for you though.
Yeah. I mean, and it's sad because it's worse now. Wow. Like Baltimore in general, man. Wow. I tell people, I did street ministry. I did youth ministry with my wife as well. I did jail ministry there. And I had to have somebody that I was connected to go certain places and do certain things. So even artists, when they would come in town,
you couldn't just pop up.
You couldn't. There's certain towns I go to, Houston and Dallas and Florida and all of these different places where I can kind of move freely. But there, it's like it's a little different. You know what I mean? And you gotta the young people there don't really have a respect for eldership. You see what I'm saying? Wow. So you gotta really have the respect of somebody or them to actually just move the way you want to. There, it's a little different, definitely.
Man, that's tough, brother. That's tough. How did you come to the Lord, man? Especially coming out of that.
Yeah, I was rapping years back, and I had a deal, man, on the table, and I was like, man, I'm about to be rich. You know what I mean? My wife, who she wasn't my wife at the time, I told her about it, and she was like, you need to talk to my pastor. And I was like, for what? You know what I mean? That's how, because she know me. We came from high school together, so she knew I was crazy and running wild. And so I called him and I told him about the deal, and he asked me, he was like, "What about your soul?" And I was like, my soul was rich. What you mean? Like, I'm about to be rich. And but it stuck with me when he said that. You know what I mean? And man, I kept hearing it over and over and over in my head.
That one question.
Yeah, what about your soul? And I was like, nobody ever asked me that. I mean, because I tell him I used to hustle, sell drugs on it was like a church step.
Wow.
And they would walk by and they wouldn't say anything. They would just go where they were going. So I never respected them because I was like, you guys never even presented it. Yeah, and I'm right here. Like, you could, you know what I mean? You could have said something to me. You know what I mean? So when he said that to me, I was thinking, he want me to bring my tithes and my offerings, you know what I mean, once I get this deal. But the truth be told, it was a bad deal. It was like 7 albums.
Who was the deal with?
Def Jam.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 7 albums.
I mean, but that's what them big labels are signing cats.
It was crazy. And
look, LL had 10 albums, bruh. That was his first deal.
You're right. And that was his first deal.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, but when you think about the money and the concept of what's coming with that, you don't really see. So he kind of actually broke that down to me too, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to give my whole life away.
Your whole life.
And I ain't getting no money,
right.
You know what I mean? Because they can shelve me, put 2 years in between. That's 14 years of my life, and it's gone. You know what I mean? And I had people working for me, and they wanted me to leave some of the people that helped me get to where I was going. So it was so many things within me that I was working on. And then when he asked that question, it just...
And when was this? What time?
This was, whew, man, you about to show my age. It's like 2002, maybe 2001.
Nah, Def Jam was.
Yeah, they was jumping. They were jumping.
I was at Howard at that time.
Wow.
And DJing like Def Jam had the streets a lot.
Yeah.
Out there. Like,
Kevin Lyles.
Yeah,
he was
Kevin
Baltimore.
and Leor was there too.
Baltimore. Yeah. That whole connection.
Yeah.
So I was a part of some things in that time. I got to see and be a part of certain history. Like I was like next door when Freeway signed his contract.
Wow.
I was like next door talking to my lawyer. You know what I mean? So I got to see that and all of that. But it helped me kind of put things in perspective, seeing how everything went. And I knew I really wasn't ready for that life. I probably would have died, man, if I'd have went. I probably definitely would have. Like, because of my life, the way that I was living, I was like, all right, I'm going to be about what I'm rapping. You see what I'm saying? And I really wasn't trying to be what I was rapping. I was rapping what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, I found myself probably, going down a path, man, where, I didn't respect the music.
But it becomes a cycle, though. Because when you start rapping what you're doing, and then you have the public image, people want to test you.
They want to see if you really...
you got to maintain it.
Man, and I've learned real quick, you ain't as tough as you think you are. When you go to certain other states and stuff, you like, in your little neighborhood, in your little circle, you're like, man, I'm that guy. But when you go to some other places, you find out these guys are really crazy. Like, I don't really want to put myself in that position. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, for sure.
So the pastor asked you, what about your soul?
Yeah.
You're pondering about that.
Yeah.
When did you decide to make a move?
My wife, she had invited me.
Thank God for your wife.
Yeah, praise God for her.
Thank God for your
praise
wife,
God
man.
for her. And she knew, for years I was, running wild. I had to marry her. She stayed with me through all of that craziness. But she invited me on a New Year's Eve service, and I was sick. I had the flu, and I was like, why she want me? I'm sick, but this is the one year I couldn't go anywhere.
Wow.
So I was sick, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to church. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go with her, and I went, and bro, I found myself at the altar, just
wow.
I don't even know how long. Just forever, man. And I remember the pastor just praying over my hands. And
was the same pastor?
Yeah, same pastor. Wow. Praying over my hands and speaking into my life and encouraging me. And literally from there on, I never went back. I mean, like, literally jumped full speed into ministry. I was sleeping at the church. You know, I was helping out. I wouldn't go home because I was so afraid that I would go back. And my wife, she'd tell you, she used to say, her phone call to me, her ministry, don't get a brick. Because she, believe it or not, that's what she used to call, say, don't get a brick, don't get a brick. And it's funny to hear, but that was my mindset. I had, how the devil do, man. He had people calling me.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
You ain't got no money? Yeah. Oh, you good? I'll take care of you. You straight. And I had to just, stay in the church and stay away from it for like at least good 2 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what it took for me to get out of that life.
It's interesting, man, because when I made my transition out of what I was in and I stopped DJing, my phone was blowing up. Yeah. I wasn't even living in D.C. no more.
Wow.
I had moved to Jersey. People was calling me, yo, come DJ at, you remember Dream?
Yeah,
nightclub.
yeah.
Come DJ at Dream. Come do that. Come da 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 da. And it's like, I feel like the devil does that to really see if we about what we say we about now.
Yeah.
It's a test.
And the test it's never over. I always say the scripture specifically talk about he tempted Jesus, but he came back, said, into an opportune time.
Yeah, bro.
He's coming back. Like, are you really, good with what you say you good with? Or are you really over what you say you over with? So I don't think it ever stops. It just comes in different forms and different formats. And, you'll find yourself saying, oh, man, I didn't fail that one, or I've, succeeded. Yeah.
So you're doing ministry at the church. Is this the period of time where you're doing the youth ministry, the prison ministry, all that stuff?
Yeah, ordained as a minister, as an elder. During that time, I wasn't doing any music either.
That's what I was going to say. Like, were you even aware that there was...
I was, but 8 years. I set the mic down specifically because I knew I was gonna, and I remember first time picking up the mic to actually preach, because I was now preaching behind the pulpit, and bro, the weight of that mic, like, it was weird. It's like it dropped and tears came because I knew what I had been doing with it before that, and now I was standing before people proclaiming God, and I had led so many people. I had people following me and doing whatever I said do, you know what I mean? So it was a real weight. And throughout those years, 8 years, I was ordained, I was preaching, I was doing the youth ministry. We had a youth ministry of maybe like 200 kids. They had their own Sunday services.
Wow.
And, so I was really getting grounded and rooted before I decided, because I didn't want to rap.
Sure.
No more after that. But 2010, God, man, he pushed me. I didn't want to, you know what I mean? He really literally pushed me because How
did he push you?
I thought it was honestly corny. I thought it was going to be corny from my perspective, but I had a friend who gave me one of the first CDs I actually had was Stained Glass. What was his name? Bro, it's escaping me right now. Stephen the Levite.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Stephen the Levite. Now, mind you, like I said, I was in the word, though, and I heard him break down, the theology through the word, and I was like, oh, wow, this is different. Then, of course, I heard truth, and I was like, oh, okay, like, you can really get lyrical with this, too. You see what I'm saying? So I started dibbling and dabbling. Once again, God used my wife, you know what I mean? And I told her I don't want to do it, man. I remember coming home, and she had a pen and a pad. You know what I mean?
Wow.
She had went and brought, I don't know, it was from like Dollar Store or something, and she had wrote a nice little message, how it inspired people and all of these different things, man. So, thank God for my wife, man, for sure, because, God used her a lot in my life, you know what I mean, to push me where I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's good, bro. So that got you into the music.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of stuff. I mean, you've had opportunity to travel around the country.
Right.
Obviously, you've moved, man. How have you seen this Christian rap thing progress from kind of your first impressions with the Stephen the Levite, the truth, to kind of where it is now?
Man, it's amazing because first of all, there's 1,000, 100 million rappers now.
A lot of rappers.
Yeah, and at the time there wasn't a lot. You know what I mean? You could go places and you say if you say CHH or gospel rap or anything of that nature, people were like, what is that? You know what I mean? So that's the one big thing I've seen. And then when I moved to Florida, I was gonna do a different deal. I did a deal with a small label, and we were partnering with Sony Red.
Okay.
So that was really, I was moving into that direction. So I kind of got to see even with like what Reach was doing through Sony at the time, and it blew my mind that we actually have influence and power in that, and I actually have like a DJ now, 104.5 down there in Florida. I actually have a interview coming up this month, and he's like excited. He's like, bro, I'm so glad. And I'm like, wow, like we really, and especially about Lecrae, he was like, bro, I had Lecrae right there in that chair where you are. And I'm looking at his Instagram. He's on there with T.I. He DJs for the Orlando Magic. So I'm like, wow, bro, you're like super excited. So I think it's gotten to a point now where people are accepting and they understanding, you know what I mean, that you can't really get no realer than this. If you're living it, there's nothing realer than Christian hip hop. There's nothing realer than anything that we say, because we really have to live it, and we have a spotlight on us that's always, making sure that we're about what we say.
Yeah. I think, man, like the thing for me that I see, and I see it in your ministry, it's consistency, bro. Yeah. Like dudes are so much more consistent now because of the way people consume music.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you send me new music,
Right.
I already know what I'm getting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Praise God for that, because
you know what you're getting.
I mean, as an artist, we're still so insecure and so vulnerable. Like when we send music, we don't know how people are going to respond, or you know what I mean. So like you said, with the consistency, all we can do is just continue to give you content.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I think now we have a little switch going on where even myself, I understand that there's a younger crowd and a younger generation who, you know, we don't have to necessarily cater to them, but we need to be mindful that
clearly
they do music differently than we do music. So you know, I'll get like I just dropped a single with Mission and he's doing the hook and I'm like, bro, that's like that new wave.
That
like,
song is dope though.
Appreciate it, bro. But you know, he was like, I don't know if you're gonna like it, and I was like, bro, I like this, you know, because they're like, you're the older, you know,
Did
generation.
you feel like that stretched you a little bit though?
Believe it or not, no, because even when I was doing secular music, man, I did so. They couldn't find. That was the problem with me getting a deal. They couldn't find a specific style. They would be like, what's your style? Who are you? What do we market you as? And I was like, man, I can rap like Busta Rhymes. I can rap like Nas. I can rap like, and they'd be like, no, but who are you?
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like the feeling of it. To me, music is more of a feeling than, and I see it versus hear it. See what I'm saying? So I'll be like,
interesting.
So when he sent it, I'm like, what do I see? You know what I mean? Automatically, I had the video in my head. I'm like, I see this feels like this. This is a feeling versus, you know, just putting it into, you know, context. Really.
Let me ask you this, bro. A lot of guys who have been around just the music industry in general, as long as you and I have.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of guys, man, they're bitter about certain things. I've never ever got that vibe from you.
No.
Right? What fuels you? Like your passion for you to keep doing this, to keep going, to keep, you know, whatever it is. Like you always seem like you excited about whatever's next, man.
Ministry, man. Ministry. As long as I got breath, you know, ministry is what fuels me. Ultimately, you know, my faith. I know specifically, man, once I got saved, I remember what I came from too. You know what I mean? So knowing what I came from, knowing how I was in the music and all of that stuff, it's like I look out and see a bunch of me, you know, with the kids and the young people, man. So I know, you know, we got so much work to do. You know what I mean? So it keeps me focused on the work, keep my eyes on Jesus, man. You know what I mean? And I stay focused on the work. And I kind of don't get, you know, bothered. I'm different in that matter. My family and people used to say, you just don't care about anything. It wasn't that I didn't care. It's just like, I'm not bothered by anything because I know the ultimate goal in the end. So the stuff in between, it's just, you know what I mean? It's secondary.
When you see some of these debates that take place just in terms of like our methodology, how we should do this, whatever, how do you feel about that? Oh man,
it's weird because I kind of like to step back a lot of times, and I've had people
I've never
ask,
even seen you really engage
people
in
ask
it like
me,
that.
they say, "What do you think?" And it's funny, I was just with King, Tony. I was with him maybe a month ago, and I was like, "Bro, what's up, bro?" Like, you know what I mean? And we had dialogue, and I dialogue with people behind the scenes. But a lot of times, man, people don't realize wisdom sometimes is saying nothing, because if I say something that's my opinion, I always look to see how can I further the movement and progress it. So if I don't have anything to say that's gonna be edifying, then I keep it to myself. You know what I mean? And if I do feel one way or a certain way, I kind of like don't like to make it sometimes public, because I will talk to that person, or I'll talk to them, and I try to. And then the funny thing is this: a lot of times we jump out the window and stuff, and we don't know people. We don't even know, you know what I mean? We guessing off of characters on Twitter what they meant, how they meant it, and you go off of that one thing, and now you know, I've been there and done stupid things, and then later I gotta apologize because I was wrong, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think it's in age I've just learned, man, with wisdom, and sometimes some people foolish, man, and you don't know who a fool is. It'd be a wise man fussing with a fool, and I look like a fool too. You see what I'm
from
saying?
a distance can't tell who's
they can't
who.
tell who's who. So I kind of just like to stay back away from it, man. But I have my opinions, you know what I mean. And when people ask, you know what I mean, I give them, and I speak with them, you know, honestly, and tell them what I think. But my opinion don't change.
Sure.
You know, anything. So yeah.
What made you move to Florida, bro?
I lived in Baltimore.
I feel you.
Well, my kids too, bro. Like my family, I wanted to get my kids out of Baltimore first. It's a lot going on. I got a friend her daughter just got shot probably, what was it, maybe a month ago? Not even, you know, and she was just at a barbecue. shot went through her neck, hit her spine. Now she can't walk. You know what I mean? And we praying for her to recover fully, but she didn't do anything. She was just there. She was just there. You know what I'm saying? So this is the life that, that was there. And me and my wife, we had planned for years. We first went to Florida. We were like, man, we got to get away from this snow first and foremost. But it was just a thing we always had. And I believe God was leading us, man, to get there. We have a nonprofit that we help families, and we did a lot of stuff in our community, but we wanted to branch out. And it was just like, we just go where God would lead us. But Florida was just like, it wouldn't leave our minds, bro. And we did everything we needed to do to get there. We sold everything we had. We, made sure that we were able to get there. And as soon as we got there, everything just fell in line, fell right in place. Yeah.
Man, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
So you no turning back, bro.
2 years now.
Yeah.
2 years I've been there, and man, I can say I love being out, but I love going home.
Hey, this hurricane ain't make you second guess it though, bro?
Oh, look, we were in it. We actually got hit. Like, wow. We were in the eye because we were like in Davenport right there by Orlando. And I was like vlogging throughout it. It was funny, man. God was ministering to me throughout because I've never experienced anything like this. My family's never experienced. Yeah. And people were running. They were, especially from South. I had people like, what are you still doing there? Even though we didn't have an evacuation. So, I found myself in a position. My wife's a nurse, so she's critical personnel. She can't leave.
She had to be there.
So, bless God, we were in a good spot, in a great house that, withstood it. But throughout the whole time, I was praying, and God was saying, man, you ain't gonna be able to run from everything.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, now, are you going to stand on what you say, your faith, and all of these different things? Like, because you're in a situation and circumstance where you gotta go through it. You know what I mean? And it was anxiety, but at the same time, it was no fear in it. And people, some people thought I was crazy because I wasn't, wild out like everybody else was. But I'm different, man. I don't fear. Even my kids, man, we teach them, they're rooted. My son preached the first time at 5, behind the pulpit. You see what I'm saying? To hundreds of people. You see what I'm saying? So they know, man, it's like, I don't fear death. I ain't trying to die, but if death comes, I'm good. You understand what I'm saying? There's a different type of fear. You can't kill somebody on fear. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't have that fear in me. So because of that, man, I just see things different from a different perspective.
Man, that's good, bro. That's good, man. So what you got coming down the pike, man? Just as far as your music, your ministry, and all of that. Well,
with the label, man, I got Mouthpiece is on the label. I got some other artists that I'm actually about to bring on. I haven't, I ain't ready to let it out.
Haven't revealed it yet.
Not yet. I got my album and I'm just finishing up. I dropped a single, but I'm about to drop another single with Jared Sanders, Eshawn. We just shot the video for that. So
nice.
That one I'm really looking forward to. I'll probably be dropping my album around January though. But I'm gonna give a couple more singles out before then, and then behind that we'll probably do like a label thing with some collaborations. I got some songs on there, just to mention a couple people. I got Kayla Starks, Brother 3, R. Swift. If he see this, I gotta get my verse. R. Swift, I'm just gonna try to get a couple other guys, man, just to collaborate with, people that I'm family with.
Man, that's good, man. D, man, I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you,
Real
bro.
Talk, bro.
It's an honor, man.
Man, thank you for coming through, brother.
Everybody want to be on Wado, man. This is an honor, bro.
Hey, man, we'll praise God, man. It's good to have you here, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Wado Radio Show.
Thanks for tuning in to another Wado Radio full interview. This was made possible in part by our affiliate, Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Established over a decade ago, Covenant Eyes is the pioneer in internet accountability software, empowering its members to maintain their online integrity. I personally use them on every device that I have: computer, iPhone, iPad, whole 9 yards. Don't go another day without guarding your eyes, your mind, and your heart. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about Covenant Eyes. And if you sign up via our affiliate link
at waitoradio.com/resources will give you a month free. Covenant Eyes, trusted by thousands of families, including mine. This interview is brought to you by our sponsor, Devin Turner. This MC and pastor is not only putting out great music, but he's doing phenomenal work in his community and abroad. Check out his new album, Luminary, available on all digital outlets. For more info, visit his website at devinturner.org.
Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.